Okay, for this video we're going to be looking at a type of graph or data organizer called a box plot. Sometimes you'll hear it called a box and whisker plot. So the items that you'll see in the box plot, these are what you call your 5-number summary. So the first one you'll see is your minimum value. Then you'll see Q1, which is quartile 1. Then you'll see the median. And remember, the median is also quartile 2. And you'll see Q3, quartile 3, and then the maximum value. All right, so here's an example of a box and whisker plot that's been shown. So you'll notice we have what are called the whiskers. So they go from the minimum or the smallest value up to Q1, and then from Q3 up to your maximum value. Now each of these will contain 25% of your data. So 25% of your numbers live in each of the whiskers. And then we have the box. Okay, so if we look at the box runs from Q1 to Q3, and then you'll see a line, and the line will be the median or your Q2. And so 25% of your data lives in this part of the box up to the line, 25% here. So this kind of just lets you see how your numbers are spread out. So half your data is in the box. And then the other half will be in the whiskers. All right, so let's take an example where we draw one of these. Okay, so I've got a data set. I need to go ahead and put it in order. I feel like this is the same data set we worked on the other page. Okay, so once I've got it in order, I know my minimum or my smallest value is -6, and my maximum value is 8. All right, so let's get my median or my middle. Okay, so maybe right there, that's 4 numbers on each side. So there's my median. That will be halfway between 2 and 4, so my median would be 3. So remember, Q2 is median. All right, so now I need my quartiles. So Q1 will be the middle of the bottom half. So here's Q1. And then Q3 is the middle of the top half. Okay, so Q1 is halfway between -5 and -3. That will make it -4. Q3 is halfway between 7 and 8, which will make it 7.5. All right, so I'm going to make myself a box and whiskers. So what we want to do is we want to start by putting a number line across the bottom. And I need my numbers to go from -6 to 8. Okay, so I'm going to start here and do -6. Oops, that's going to mess up. So -6. I'm going to go ahead and count these out. That'll be -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to equally space these as much as I can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to label every other one just to make it a little easier. You can label all of them if you want. All right, so I've got my number line. It has everything from my minimum to my maximum. So what I want to do now is I want to take my 5 numbers and I want to put them up above my graph. So my minimum is -6. I'm going to mark that. My Q1 is -4. My Q2 is +3, so it's way over here. And then I've got a 7.5 and an 8. All right, so that's my 5-number summary. So what I need to do is I need to build the box out of these 3. So that's my box. Okay, so I should be using my straight line tool. That would make it look a lot better. Oh, I kind of missed that. Let me try that again. All right, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It helps if you use a ruler. So that's my box. And then I need to put the line down the middle. Okay, so remember this represents Q1, Q2, which is your median, and Q3. Now the only thing I have left are my whiskers, so I draw those out here. A lot of times you'll see them end in dots, or they'll end in these little skinny lines like this. All right, so that would be a box and whiskers. So notice that half my data lives in the box, so I can see that most of my data is between -4 and 7.5. So half my data is in there, and then the other half is in these little whiskers. All right, so let's look at a couple more of these. This is a regular box plot. So here's our data set. So notice we can see the minimum is at 1 and the maximum is at 24. And if I wanted my median or my middle, it would be right there. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers on each side. So that's your median. So we can see that marked here. And so to get Q1 and Q2, oops, wrong thing. I look at all my data up to 11. So the middle number would be 9, so that would be your Q1. And then I look 11 all the way up. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It looks like 12 would be your other quartile. So you can see that all written on there. So what you'll notice about this box plot is that it has really, really long whiskers. So notice how long these are. They go all the way here, all the way here, and then my box is really short. So what that tells me is that I may have some really big or really small numbers that are falling outside of my data set. So I'm going to go back and erase everything I wrote on here so we can go back and look at it. All right, so long whiskers usually indicate what we call outliers. Okay, so outliers can greatly affect your data. Okay, so if I look at my data set, it goes from 1 to 24. But what I'll notice is that there's a pretty big jump between 1 and 6 and a decent jump between 16 and 24. Now we're going to talk more about how to find outliers in the next section, but a lot of times we want to take our outliers out. So we mark our outliers with an X and we shorten the whiskers. Okay, so if I take out the 1 and the 24, my next smallest value is 6, so notice that becomes the end of my whisker. Down here, the next biggest value is 16, that becomes the end of the other whisker. So I shorten the whiskers, and then you'll see X's on the outliers. So we don't want to totally kick them out, and so we just do X's for those, but then we shorten the whiskers. So 6 would be my next, kind of my new minimum, and then 16 is my new maximum.